Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this wonderful team that I get to manage. God provided me with. First of all is my Faith, my little Faith. She she has been my assistant since she was born. I used to set her on the pulpit when I did announcements so she could help me with announcements, and later became, she and her sister used to pass out the affirmation cards at the end, kind of an usher's duty, but they love doing that, so we let them do that. Now she's 17 and she's my official assistant, and I couldn't do this without her, so I'm glad she's here. If you don't know, if you comment to me, I am not that good at multitasking when I'm speaking. I can multitask any other time, but not when I'm speaking. So Faith will be answering you, and she knows me better than I know myself. She's raised 6 blocks away from me, and most of the time she was at my house. So so she will answer you. I will look at those comments later to make sure there isn't something I need to embellish on. So thank you, Faith, for being here. We appreciate you. And our practitioner on duty is the wise and powerful Oz. He was my first baby practitioner. He went through all of his training with me, was my board president for years and years and years, then moved off to Florida, and now he's back with me. So he is my partner in crime. I am so blessed to have him with me. Thank you, Oz, for being here. He'll be praying us in and praying us out, and he'll be available for our 1-minute miracle at the end. So thank you, Oz. All right. So today's topic, we are doing 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity, my book. We're doing a series based on that, and it is a metaphor of a road trip with points of interest stops along the way. And so today is week 3, and we're going to talk about conditioning. And so that's the topic for today. Say hi, good morning, hello if you're here. When we're in a facility, I can see who's out there. With this technology, it's wonderful, but I can't see who's here. So I really appreciate it if you just let me know that you are here. Great. If you'd like to do a watch party, there is a watch party button. It's a great way for you to introduce your friends to our philosophy, and also to talk amongst yourselves without bothering anybody. It's great. Being at home, you don't have to worry about that. So without further ado, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God right here, right now, wherever you are, and in all places, all things. things, for God is infinite, God is eternal, God is everywhere and everything. It is in each one of us. It is that force that animates our lives, that creates the environment, that spins the planets, that moves the stars. That one force that permeates all being is what we call God. And I know that that presence is right where you are too. For God is in all places and all times. So whenever you're watching this, we know that God is there. And I let that force just run through all of my being and all of existence, for that is there. I recognize it for what it is and where it is and when it is. And I know that it is bringing blessings and it is bringing perfection into all things. And I know because of this that our service is blessed, that it is a case of God speaking, God hearing, God caring, God sharing, God listening and understanding, and God inspiring the message to be exactly what it needs to be. For being part of this show and for part of that presence, I give great thanks, and I let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is. I said that without even putting myself on camera. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Oz. All right. This next song is from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We Are All One. We do it every week. And so if you know the words, sing along and sing it loud and sing it proud. This is a great one to get stuck in your mind. We are all one.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Oh, yes. Okay. If you are here, please say hi, good morning, hello, whichever way you want to say that you're here. When we're in a facility, I know who's here. I can look out there and see, but when we're here online, I can't do that. So I'd appreciate it if you just let me know you're here. It helps me a little bit. Also, if you like something that you hear either through the song or through something I say, use the thumbs up. If you love something, give us a little love heart. We love to get love. And if something really strikes you as powerful that happens in the sermon or in the song or whatever, use the wow button. That really says it all. And I know then that we have touched on something for someone. So that's a good way to do this. So the very first song is actually one of Karen Drucker's. And Faith has been chomping at the bit to do this one because she loves this song. And it's a great meme to get stuck in your head. So I'm going to ask you later to download it because it is a good one to use every day. So there she is, Faith. Yay!
Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Every time I open my heart, I receive all that I need. Knowing that God is my source, I relax and let it flow. 'Cause I know that money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. And I know that I have it all inside of me. I just ask and let go and let spirit direct the flow. And I know that money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me.
Thank you, Faith. I love that song. Money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Wow. I love that song. I run around singing it all the time. So does Faith. It's a great way to get prosperity going, you know, especially if this week we're going to be talking about affirmations. So it's a perfect week for that. I made her wait until then because of that. So the first thing we're going to do today is I want to talk about the teaching symbol. I know I've done this before here and there, but I really want to get into this teaching symbol. And you see it on the screen here. First, we have the unbroken circle of unity, meaning there's no beginning and no end. And then we have a top portion. We've split it into 3 parts, not because it can be portioned out, but because it's the only way to really talk about it. So we have this top portion, which represents conscious mind. That's where all thought is formed. That's where our intentions are placed. For instance, when I do affirmations and I come up with an affirmation, I'm using my conscious mind. If I'm doing a spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer, that's where it comes from, is this conscious mind. Every conscious thought that I have to change my life comes from this top part here. The second part, the middle part here, is called subjective mind, and it works like a computer. It's like read-write. Everything that we have ever experienced about money, our feelings, our thoughts, our fears, our sights, sounds that we heard as a kid, all of that is stored in the subjective mind. And it reflects back to us everything that we believe about money because of those experiences. I'll get into more of that in just a second. Then the bottom portion is form. And that is where we actually see our thoughts going through subjective mind and becoming manifest in the physical world. And so the process of creation, when you look at it, this V here, is something in conscious mind that goes through subjective mind, ends up in form, and then returns back into the nothingness from which it comes. Now, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, used planting a seed as an explanation for this process because it works so well. Think about it like this. You take the seed, you plant it in the soil, you water it, you fertilize it, you give it all of the good nutrients that it needs, including the sun, and it turns into a flower. Now, in the case of perennials, well, in the case of all flowers, they disappear back into the nothingness from which it came. In other words, they return back to the seed, so to speak. Okay, so like I have perennials, like these crazy lilies that I have. I love them. They're very beautiful, but the plant itself looks like an alien. And the first time I planted it, it had one little stem with a few flowers on it. And then every year it comes back, and every year there's more and more of these stems, and they're getting bigger and thicker and more flowers. And they look like little alien plants, honest to God, until the flowers are on there. And once the flowers are on there, they actually look a little more normal. But when they're first growing, they do look like aliens. But the perennial plants are a perfect example of this because you plant the seed in the soil, it comes up as a plant with flowers, and then in the spring or in the fall, it returns back into the nothingness from which it came. And then in the springtime, poof, it pops right back up again. So that's the process of creation. Now, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said, there's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. And I always like to modify him just a little bit. I don't usually try to correct people I learn from, but in this case, I have to say we can use it and we do use it already. The difference is I can use it consciously. So I want to change the quote to say there's a power for good in the universe and I can use it consciously, because that's really the truth about it. Now, there's several ways that we create. One of the ways is the way I just talked about, where we have like an affirmation and we choose to do this affirmation. It goes through the subjective mind. It ends up in form as prosperity. Let's just say, put it that way. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about health or love or anything else. It's the same process. But say I do an affirmation. It goes through the subjective mind with no obstacles. It comes out on the other end as money in my bank account. Okay. Eventually that money gets spent, so it goes back into the nothingness from which it came. Okay, the object of it, really, for the thriving, is to keep money, but to circulate the money in the creative process. We talked about the law of circulation a while back. But you always want to be able to keep some of that money, obviously. And so what happens when we have an affirmation that we're doing and it doesn't manifest? What's going on is there in that subjective mind, that middle portion there, we have some belief, some idea that is keeping that from manifesting properly. And if we have something that we use our conscious mind to plant, but it doesn't receive soil, then it's not going to manifest into anything. But if it receives soil, then it will manifest into something. So what we need to remember is whatever is in this middle portion here is what's keeping that process from going. All right. So let's see. I've lost where I'm at here. That is a creative process in a nutshell. And it doesn't matter whether we are Osama bin Laden or we are me or we are you. It doesn't really matter who we are. It's going to work the same way for everyone every time. Cause and effect always creates that which we put into it. All right. Now, if in my conscious mind I say I want abundance and my subjective mind has no material in it that objects to that, I will create abundance. You see how that goes all the way from the top to the bottom and back up again. In this diagram, that's what happens. Now, look, in my book, I actually have a diagram, but I can't seem to locate my book. So I'm winging this one. In the diagram in the book, there is a process that goes, the V goes from conscious mind into subjective mind and bounces right back. And that's because there is material in there that is keeping it from manifesting. So for instance, I say I'm prosperous. And, in the subjective mind, we say, money is the root of all evil. Not that consciously we do that, but that's what's stored there. So his subjective mind says, not creating it, and it throws it back. that's one case of what happens. The other case of what happens, which probably happens more often than not, is that we we have subjective material sitting in our subjective mind that is creating automatically without our knowing it. We have no conscious awareness of what's happening. For example, I say, I don't deserve to have money. Every time there is an opportunity to have prosperity to come my way, somehow I am checked out. Somehow I'm not there. And because of that, I will not create prosperity, because in the background of everything that's going on is this idea that I don't deserve money, so I'm creating prosperity. You know, it's really interesting to watch when I was teaching my classes and the week on abundance would come up. There are people that declared that the purpose of their 10-week class was to create prosperity, abundance. And what's interesting is the week for abundance would come up in the 10-week process and they wouldn't show up in class. Now, I'm not saying they did like consciously decided not to show up. That's not what happened. You know, a family member would have an emergency, or they would get sick, or, you know, something would happen that would prevent them from actually coming to class. And it was always fascinating to me to watch that process, not from a judgmental point of view, but from a laboratory experiment point of view. And of course, you know, when they returned to class, we'd have an opportunity to probe that subjective mind to see what was in there that was causing them to abort when it came to the week that we were going to be discussing prosperity. And, you know, it's fascinating to watch that because it's the way our mind operates. We create situations that allow us to check out because our subjective mind has stuff in it that says, I can't allow any of that information in. And so we just need to be aware of when those things are happening to us. The material in the subjective mind is going to create for us and automatically create. For instance, you know, when you learned how to drive, do you remember this experience? Where you, when you first start to drive, you have to stop and think, I must put my foot on the brake now. I must look in the mirror now. I must turn the wheel that way to get this result, or I must turn the wheel that way to get this result. And, you know, sometimes parking, I still have to do that. But for the most part, that has become an automatic process. And my mind is now focused on all of the other stuff that I have to think about, like where I'm going, who's on the road with me, what they're doing. That kind of thing is more important for me to focus on than where my feet are or where my hands are. And that's called an automatic process. So let's look at how that looks on this chart. When we look at the V, it begins in the subjective mind. We never even get conscious thought about it. It begins in the subjective mind, goes into form, and returns back to the nothingness from which it came. So we're all about creating all these things in our lives without even knowing that we're creating them, because that subjective mind holds all of the material about prosperity that we've ever experienced. You know, a perfect example of this, I'm going to go ahead and take this off right now. I feel funny not having you see my face. A perfect example of this was my mom. My mom was raised very poor in the hills of Tennessee, on a farm, and they had nothing. She used to say, I never had a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And so what happened was she ended up marrying this guy who at the time that she met him was doing well. He just wasn't very wealthy, but he became very, very wealthy over the process of years. And the more money he made, the more she tried to spend it. Not consciously, of course, but in the background of her subjective mind, what she was thinking was, no, I can't have that. I'm poor. I can't be having that kind of money. I'm poor. And so she would do those strangest things. She would buy these things that, and I have a bit of that from her training. I think you're like, I buy stuff and I go, why did I buy that? But she bought these shoe things for us. Everybody in the family, she bought, there's 7 of us kids. She bought one for every kid, plus she bought them for the grandkids too. And it was this shoe thing that's like quilted on the outside, and it's got cardboard shelves in it with this thing down the middle. And so if you put the shoes in at the top, it goes down to the bottom. And so I spent like a half an hour trying to figure out a way to make this thing work. So I put the shoes in the bottom part. Okay, that worked. I put the next ones in. That worked. I put the next ones in. I got to about halfway there and down they came. And I kept trying. I kept thinking, okay, if I just do it very carefully, it'll work. Well, no, it never worked. And I ended up having to throw the thing away. And then the next week she bought something else like that. And finally I said, Mom, I'm not going to use this stuff. Please stop buying this stuff. Don't use your money that way. And she was a gambler. That's how she got rid of a lot of money too. And, please understand this is not conscious. It took her a lot of years to figure out that she was doing that. She and I had many conversations about it. And it finally occurred to her that that's what she was doing. And she pretty much stopped. I mean, she still gambled. She still did a little bit, but, she didn't go to Vegas 10 or 12 times a year. She went once or twice a year instead, and she started learning what to spend money on and what not to spend money on, realizing that every purchase she was making either was out of that necessity of the subjective mind telling her, spend this money fast because you got to get rid of it because you don't deserve to have it. And she went from that state of mind to, okay, do I need this? Is this something that's going to be important to anybody? No. Okay, I won't buy it. And so, let's see, I lost my place again. All right. It wasn't a conscious process. And that subjective stuff is everything we have seen, felt, heard, and thought through our lives, experienced. So just take a moment right now. We're not going to do a big meditation, but I want you to close your eyes and let's just think about what we saw happening around money when we were a kid. Just think about that for a minute. What did you see around you that happening in regards to money? What did you hear about money in your household when you were a kid? What kind of messages did you overhear about money? Perhaps it was your parents fighting over money at some point. Perhaps it was something that your mom would say to you, we can't afford that toy. Just think about, what did you hear about money when you were a kid? And then what feeling would come up whenever the family would start to talk about money? What feeling came up inside of you? Was it a dread when they'd start to talk about money? Was it excitement? Think about what that feeling was. Okay. You can open your eyes now. I want you to contemplate those things because they're really important. It will tell you what is located in your subjective mind. Because each one of those, what did you hear, what did you see, what did you feel, has translated into a belief that is stored in I call it the hard drive. I call, your mind a computer, your subjective mind a computer, because it stores all of that information and it's like on read write. It always is accepting new information, but not always contradictory information. And so that's what's recorded in the subjective material, is all of these thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And so in my household, we were very wealthy. And I experienced my family, my parents, as being very unhappy. Especially my dad, he was one of the most unhappy individuals I have ever known. He grew up in the Depression. He sold fruit he would go to the trains and meet the fruit trucks and sell the fruit on the corner. And he put his brother through college, his older brother through college. And they lost everything that they had in the Depression. And he had an opportunity. He was a concert violinist, and he had an opportunity to travel the world with an orchestra. And he gave that dream up because he felt like it was his job to stay home and take care of the family. And he was a very young man at that time. I think he was more than a teenager, but I think he was like maybe early 20s. but made that decision to not follow his heart, not to follow his dream, but instead to stay and take care of the family. And for that reason, he was a very unhappy person. And he always lived with the belief that it was going to be taken away from him. On the one hand, he was very generous. And on the other hand, he was very stingy because he kept saying, you know, it could be gone in a minute. And so he would say to us, I'm sure, Joey, you probably had the same experience. I'm not sure because he had grown so much after me. My sister and I have 13 years between us. But he would say to me, don't ever tell anybody what we have because they could come and take it away. Well, it worked the opposite in my mind. Instead of me thinking, oh, I can't tell anybody anything, I thought, not consciously, of course, this is what was restored, what got stored in my subjective mind over it is, well, if somebody's going to come and take all of this away, I better spend it quick, right? Not exactly the message he was hoping I would get. And so, let's see, I keep getting lost. But the recording of what was going on in my house, in my household, is what happened to me in terms of my beliefs about money. We have to look at those carefully, asking ourselves, question number one is it true or not true? Question number two is, if it's not true, do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to change it? Do I want to dissolve it? Do I want to just accept it right where it is? And number three, if it doesn't, let's see, does it serve it? Question number two is, does it serve me anymore? And then question number three is, if it doesn't serve me anymore, do I want to get rid of it, change it, or accept it? And so, here's a perfect example. This is the one that I argue through. I know it's like an old, oh God, I hate going over that again. But the thing is that it's the best example I can think of how to argue your way from a belief to a powerful belief. Does money grow on trees? Yes, it does. We've been told all our lives that money doesn't grow on trees, but where does money come from? What's it made of? Paper. Where does paper come from? Trees. Or paper comes from wood. Where does wood come from? Trees. So money does grow on trees. And so we're going to have to look at each one of those beliefs that we hold in our subjective mind and argue our way through them just like that. Is money the root of all evil? No, of course not. What is money? Money is God in form, right? Money in the conscious mind going through the subjective mind, which is the paper, becomes money in form, right? So that's going to be the process. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to reprogram our computer. We programmed it once, so it can be reprogrammed, right? Our subjective mind can be reprogrammed. Conditioning always results in conditions. The bottom part of that teaching symbol is form, which is conditions. Okay, so you'll hear me say from time to time, no matter what condition you're experiencing, we can pray with you right then and there. That's what I'm talking about. We have created a condition. Conditioning results in conditions. Okay, the tool for this week is affirmations, because that's how we're going to reprogram that computer. So I want to talk a little bit about how affirmations work. When we're born, are you dreaming, Smokey? You okay? She's over here. I don't know if you can hear her. Okay, so when we're born, our brains are basically smooth. They're not like a cue ball, but they are smooth, and they have a very smooth surface. And through repetition, we build grooves, or we dig grooves into the brain. For instance, when I'm learning to drive, there isn't a groove for what I do with my feet and my hands and my eyes, okay? And through repetition, we create a groove where the synapses can fire and we have ready access to that material. And so when we're doing affirmations, what we're doing is we're creating grooves in the brain. And those grooves are going to create a reality for us. And so, yeah, okay. So how I discovered this, actually, the way affirmations work. I've always used affirmations. I've proved to myself that they work by doing my own little laboratory experiment on myself. I had proved to myself that they do work, but I never fully understood why they worked. My oldest brother had a stroke many years ago, and we didn't get to him right away. So it destroyed his left brain, crossed over his midbrain, and did some damage in the right brain. And so we called in. I had a friend, well, actually Lynn had a friend that he used to work at Craig Hospital all those years ago. And she was a teacher in the school, an instructor in the School of Ministry, and that's how I knew her. But anyway, she had gone to medical school. She was going to be a doctor, and she had one class left and decided she didn't really want to be a doctor. So she took a speech pathology curriculum instead and became a speech pathologist. And she's like one of maybe 5 or 6 people in the world that have this specific training. So people would fly her all over the world for her consults on this. And so we called her in to consult with us about my brother. And she went over the CAT scans, the MRIs, the x-rays. She went over all of that with us. And she began to explain the process. And what it was is the left brain is actually, it's on the right-hand side here. Like the left brain is responsible for language. And my brother, due to his stroke, would be like, bah, 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 bah. He couldn't communicate. He couldn't point to things. Like they had this board where you could say yes or no. He said yes almost all the time. So that wasn't useful. And so they call it a memory board. But anyway, I can't remember what they call it now. But anyway, he wasn't able to use that. So the communication part of his brain was destroyed. And so what Margaret was talking to us about was using the neural pathways in the right side of his brain and retraining those to compensate for what was gone in the left brain. And that's when she started explaining about how the brain is smooth when you're born and how through repetition you create deep grooves in the brain. And that is how we retrain the neural pathways so that he learns to speak using his right brain instead. And I had this big aha moment where I'm sitting there listening to her, and all of a sudden I went, that's how affirmations work. And she said, exactly. Yes, that is absolutely how affirmations work. And after that, I started teaching affirmations that way to my classes because I realized that that is such an important part for us to recognize why doing all those repetitions really actually helps us, why it actually creates something. And so let's see. So we're going to start this week replacing the subjective material that is in our subjective mind with affirmations. For instance, if you believe that money doesn't grow on trees, if you've been taught that, and you still think that that is a belief that's not serving you at this time, you're going to do an affirmation that says, money does grow on trees, and I have an orchard, right? Now, I want you to think about what that means in terms of how you're going to outpicture this belief. All right. Money doesn't grow on trees. In other words, there's not enough supply. So you may want to start there instead of money does grow on trees and I have an orchard. You might say something like, there's an endless supply of abundance in the universe. Since God is the supplier, the source of all things, and God doesn't know anything about a lack or a limitation. God only knows abundance. Then I know, and so the affirmation would be, God is my source and supply, and I am supplied abundantly. You see? But that's what you're going to do with all the beliefs that you have that are limiting you, that are sitting in your subjective mind that you're uncovering. You're going to make an affirmation out of the opposite of that stuff. And when we do affirmations, we want to make sure that they are in the present moment. We don't go into the past. This has already happened, or this is going to happen in the future. No, this is happening right now. I am abundant now. I have abundance now. I I have enough supply. I have enough to share and to spare. All of that. And we want to say right here, right now. And we speak in the first person. We don't do affirmations for anybody else. I wouldn't say, Faith has enough to share and to spare. She would probably love it, but I don't have any control over her subjective mind. Only she does. She's over there in the background. Yeah, she would love it. I know. But we have to speak in the first person. We can't speak in third person. We can't say you. We have to say I have enough to share and to spare. Okay. And we want to use our name. That's really important. I, Tucker, have enough to share and to spare. Okay. We use words that are powerful to us. Now, in the beginning, we talked about language and how if I were to ask you to give your definition of prosperity, every one of you would have a different definition. So we came up with a working definition of thriving. That was our working definition. But when it comes to affirmations, that's going to be different. That has got to be words of power that are powerful for you, not for me, not for Faith, not for Oz, not for anybody else. Words that are powerful for you. And so that's when you get down to, what does prosperity mean to me? What is that thing that I want to create? And I'm going to use words of power for it. Now, remember in the Bible, in the story of Moses, he said, who is it that I should say has sent me? And the burning bush said, tell him the I am sent you. Think about how powerful it is when I say I am. Okay? That is the most powerful statement you can make. You don't want to say I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm out of money, I'm broke. You don't want to say any of those things. You want to say I am, for instance, in my case, I know what my beliefs are. I have an endless, or I am an endless supply, or let's see, I am a receptacle for the endless supply of God. You see, I'm an open channel through which God's abundance flows. I am a receptor that receives the prosperity of God. Any one of those things would work for me. But the main thing for me is that I have to know that it will always be mine. What is mine cannot be taken from me. You see, I've worked with that affirmation quite a bit. Whatever is mine cannot be taken from me, because that's what my implant in my subjective mind happened, was that, the money could go away somehow. And so I have to be ever vigilant and not spend any of it, or I have to spend it all real quick before somebody takes it away from me. And it catches me every now and then. I still, I'm still working with it. After all these years, I still got it going on. So I keep working with it, and you will too. So we want to use words of power, and we want to do it 100 times a day. You can find different ways to do that. We're only going to work with the one affirmation, because working with too many affirmations at once is going to, interfere with your focus. And we want to be focused. What's really important in conditioning the subjective mind is that we stay focused. Okay. So we're going to work with one affirmation, and we're going to pick the one that probably bothers us the most. And we're going to say that one 100 times, because it's real easy to say the ones that we think we should believe. But if we're really getting down to what belief is in the subjective mind, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. And the one that's uncomfortable is the one you want to work with. So we're going to say it 100 times a day. And here's the thing. There's several ways you can keep track of this. Now, I used to, when I was first doing affirmations, because I just couldn't keep track of it, is I would put an affirmation card in my pack of cigarettes. And so every time I reached for a cigarette, I would say the affirmation 10 times. And I guarantee you that I did at least 100, if not more, depending on the day. So there's also ways like you can use mala beads as a perfect example. The large mala beads, the large, what do you call it? Rosaries even, are 108 beads. So you count off 108. Or the small ones are like 56. So you could do it twice. Or you could use it using a deck of cards. There's 52 cards in the deck. You go through that deck twice, you've done 100. And, I suggest you do 10 repetitions 10 times a day. because I think that's the most powerful. If you're taking like gratitude breaks already, you could do your gratitude break and then on top of that, do your affirmation right along with it. And it won't take you that long to go through 10 repetitions. Now, please understand when I say that, we're not going to go, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. Look at my posture. I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. I am absolutely wealthy beyond measure. See my posture, how it changed? When we invoke the feeling of it, when we say it with great feeling, it is more powerful for us. And so I want you to slow down and say it with meaning. Don't check out. The last thing you want to do is say it really quickly and check out on what you're saying. You want to pay attention to what you are saying and really let it sink in what this affirmation is. That's how it's going to be the most powerful. All right, let's see. I want you to put as much power behind what you're saying as possible, realizing that, you know, everything that you say gets recorded again in that subjective mind. And if we want to overcome all the repetitions of you're not enough, money doesn't grow on trees, you don't deserve to have money, money is the root of all evil, those repetitions of that have happened our entire life are what made the deep grooves. So in order to overcome that, we're going to put in a deeper groove, but we want to do it consciously and we want to do it with as much feeling and as much power as possible. I am wealthy beyond measure. I have enough to share and to spare. Whatever those words of power are going to be, but use the I am very powerfully. I am wealthy beyond measure. And you can add to that, you know, you can have 2 or 3 sentences. I wouldn't get like a paragraph. That's going to be really difficult to say 10 times, 10 repetitions 10 times a day if you get something too long, but 2 or 3 sentences is good. So you could say, I am wealthy beyond measure. Remember the I am statement. And I know that I am a receptacle through which God's prosperity flows. Or I am an open channel for God's abundance to flow through. All right. So we're getting our feeling nature involved to have an experience of that as true. You willing to participate this week with me? Okay, so here we have, all right, so last week, if you continued to do your gratitude work, you were giving yourself $100 every time you got out of bed and said, praise God, this is the day that God has made and it is good. Or whatever version of that. Maybe you were singing the song that Faith sung the other day, a couple weeks ago. I'm thankful for this day, Spirit, thankful for this day. If you were doing that, you gave yourself $100 for that. You gave yourself $100 for each week that you've come to church. You've given yourself $100 for for any of the other gratitude work that you were doing, like gratitude breaks in the daytime. If you were taking 5 gratitude breaks, 10 gratitude breaks, you were giving yourself $100 each time you were doing the gratitude breaks. And for those of you who are just tuning in, you're going to need to go back and listen to my other sermons to understand why we're putting these in this journal. Okay, so we're going to we gave ourselves $100 for, or $500 for doing the gratitude journal at night, where we listed off 5 things that we were grateful for. So you got $500 for that. And then if you were participating last week in doing the recording in your journal of all of this money, you got $100 every time you put something in that journal. And like I said, you got $100 for each time you've attended church. So that's $300 if you've been here all 3 weeks. And then because we're stepping up to tithing, that first week, you gave yourself, $100. The second week you gave yourself $200. So today, if you give 3% of your income, you're going to get $300 today. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is a step up to tithing. I know it's difficult to conceive that you can give 10% to God and 10% to yourself and 10% to your debt repay or investment fund. I know it's a big step. That's 30% of your income. I get it. So what we're doing is we're allowing you to step up to that. So the first week was 1%, the second week was 2%, the third week, this week, is 3% of any money that you received this past week. And we're recording it in our spiritual bank account. Okay? You're going to participate this week. You're going to do affirmations. You're going to give yourself, $100 for each time you do the affirmation. So in one sitting, you're doing it 10 times. That is $1,000. So if you do it 10 times a day, think about how much money that is, right? So let's just do that. Let's go ahead and do our affirmations, give ourselves the money for doing that so that we know that we are actually creating something really powerful in our lives. And we're going to work with whatever affirmation, the same affirmation all week long. All right? You going to participate? All right, let's have a prayer. All right, so I just turn my awareness now to that infinite power, that infinite presence of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. Because I do know that God is all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is right here, right now, in this moment. So I know that that's where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that one infinite power and presence of God, by that wisdom of the ages that is within me. That is my life, my beingness. I know the same truth to be so for God's team that I have the honor and privilege to manage. For as open channels through which God's message is transmitted, we are urged to do those actions which must be done by humans, human doings on this earth. But we are connected by it, through it, as it. For we are one. There is no separation between us. And as we do this work, as we come together as the one team in God, as our minds come together, our hearts come together, and our spirits come together, our souls, we are expressing God on earth and spreading the message of God through everything that we think, say, and do. So I know the same truth to be so for any name that is in the ministry of prayer today. I also know this to be so for anyone who is watching, whether that be in real time or later on. There is no time in God. I know that we are connected by it, through it. We are one. There is no place where one leaves off and the other begins, that unbroken circle of unity exists within us. We are one. Mitakuye Oyasin. And so I bless this coming week with an awareness of that. An awareness of the oneness of life, the oneness of God, the divine intelligence that moves through us in our creative process. To an awareness of what is existing in our subjective mind that we are ready to either change or dissolve. Does it serve us anymore? And if not, what do we want to do with it? We are absolutely infused with an awareness of all the things that live in that subjective mind so that we can create more consciously. I bless it. I call it good. I know it for every name in the ministry of prayer today, that whatever condition they are experiencing, the truth of God, the spiritual truth of God's reality is underneath all of that. I call it forth right now. Pull back the veil and call it forth. call it into existence, and I name it and claim it in their names. I call it good and very good. And I am grateful for it. My heart fills with gratitude to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Who am I? I get so high when I pray. It's wonderful. It's a good thing I don't stay in prayer 24 hours a day. I would never get anything done. So we have come to that moment in the service where it's our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express gratitude for that which you have received already in physical form and that which you have created in the conscious mind, moved through subjective mind, but may not have seen yet in form. This is also your opportunity to step up to tithing, to activate that law of circulation, that law of attraction, that law of cause and effect. Because as you know, you cannot take in more until you are willing to let some of it go so that you are participating in that law of circulation. And so this is your opportunity to do just that today. Again, we're not talking about 10%. Please, if you are already giving 10%, don't go backwards. You want to keep the flow of God running through your life as it already is. For those of you who are just starting out, 3%, I guarantee you won't miss it. You won't notice it. And that 3% is going to stimulate the law of circulation on your behalf. And you will attract more to you. They say in the Bible, you give 10% off the top and it returns to you tenfold. And that's what we're initiating here. We are initiating that law of circulation, that law of attraction, that law of cause and effect by giving and receiving. We are now in that flow. Okay. So if you'll go to oasiscsl.org, in the middle of the page, there is an offering affirmation you're going to say with us. And then at the bottom of that is a Contribute Now button. And that Contribute Now button is going to allow you to contribute to us getting God's message out into the world, as well as to benefit you with the law of circulation and the law of cause and effect. So whether you're watching this in real time or you're watching it later, go to oasiscsl.org, go to the middle of the page, and say this offering affirmation with me right now. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. And now, I'm going to do the announcements real quick here. We always run out of time for other songs. All right, so we have a ministry of prayer, as I mentioned. If you would like to have some prayer for something, put it in the comments. And if you don't want it to be public, just message one of us and we will make sure that it gets on the prayer list. We have Oz today for our 1 minute miracle. It's a time for, and it's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share whatever condition you are experiencing and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. You can reach him through video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, please know that he's on with someone else and try him a bit later. Our licensed practitioners are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. Go on the website, look them up, get to know them. You can reach out to them, let them, decide how you're going to make payment, whether that's Venmo or Cash App or PayPal or however you're going to make payment to them, and they will set up an appointment for you and they will reach out to you through video chat. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast, so take advantage of this loving service they provide. Please know also that our God Squad, that's what we call our practitioners, is the God Squad. But we also have some other people on our God Squad that are not licensed practitioners, but are willing and able and have committed to keeping confidentiality and doing affirmative prayer on those requests every day for a week. So we have this private group page on Facebook where the prayer requests are listed and where our God Squad gets on. And so that's how they know who to pray for. So again, if you would like prayer, put it in the comments or message one of us, and we'll make sure it gets on that page. We also have a public-facing page for a group that is our online presence, our online community. If you would like to know about stuff before anybody else in the world gets it, you want to type more in that column. If you would like to participate as a God Squad member, and you're willing to commit to confidentiality, you're willing to commit to affirmative prayer every day for a week, and you're willing to follow through on that commitment, let us know by typing yes in the comment field, and we will put you on that list. All right. I have 2 things I want to show you today. One is Brooks and Bailey. Here's my this is my bracelet. It's so pretty. I love this new fastener that she's using. All proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. Sorry. All proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, a very worthy cause. And you can contact her through brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com. I have a new one today. A new one. This is Faith's website, everybody. It's called, I got to get used to this now. Come on, Faith, get on here.
It's called the Mystic Brew. We have bath salts and intention jars, one of them being our prosperity intention jar that will help you manifest on your journey to prosperity as well.
I have one right here. Check this out. Oops, I can't. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to give the best view of it. So Faith has gifted me with this, and this is the prosperity intention jar. How much are they, Faith?
So we have multiple different sizes. We have ones that you can wear as a necklace that is perfect for travel or keeping in your car. We also have gigantic ones to put in your house, whether it's in your office space, living room, wherever you deal with financial things. And it ranges anywhere from $7 to $45.
Cool. Thank you. So here, I'm going to put the information up again. You can visit her at that. I'm pretty sure she's got it in the comments as well, but this is a link to her website. So let's see. I want to put a shout out to Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, and her website is now on the screen, and it's also in the comments. You will have to contact her by email because she can't update her website, and she spends her time in various places. So you have to get a hold of her to find out where to send the money. Karen Drucker's music is what Faith was doing today. You definitely want to buy that song. I'm telling you, money is coming to me easily and effortlessly. Money is coming to me. Ugh. Okay, so anyway, you can go on Karen Drucker's website, and you can buy just one song, or you can buy the entire CD. What CD does that come off of, say, Faith?
That one is the Songs of Spirit 2. There is a link that will take you straight to that album to go buy that song or the entire album.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And then check out our website at oasiscsl.org. We have current video sermons, and we have prior audio sermons. So check us out. Roam around our website a little bit. Come to our website frequently. And again, sign up for our online presence so that you get the information before we send it out into the world. Okay, we're going to have our closing song now. I am so blessed. Again, sing it loud and sing it proud, because this is a great meme to instill gratitude in you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know that the blessings of God are right here, right now, as always. For God is all there is, and God is all there ever will be, and its blessings flow down in and through and around us at all times. I unite with that flow, and I let the week go forward, and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're glad you were here with us. We love you. Wear a mask. Stay safe. Get your shot. Let's see, what else can I say? Oh, join us at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time every week. We'll be doing week 4 next week. So have a blessed week. We love you. Thank you.
Ask her about Tucker.